Good morning, Rayfield. We're excited. Today we're going to be talking about our 10-step training program for toughening our mind. It's one thing to talk about or read about developing mental toughness. It's another thing to actually do it. This subject matter is so comprehensive and has such huge ramifications that it's tough to know where to get started. In this section of our lesson, I'll give you a simple, quick start action plan. We'll go through 10 steps, each of which focuses on an important principle of mental toughness. Note that what follows is far from complete. This initiative on toughening our mind. Rather, it is designed to give you a jump start in the right direction. The fact is that it is impossible for me to create a all-inclusive program for you. Developing mental toughness becomes a personal journey once you master the basics. So let's get started developing the skills and knowledge that you will need to effectively deal with the challenges, complications, and stressors that life inevitably throws at you. Step number 1, contemplate, that means to think, how you can apply mental toughness to your life. The key to jump starting off is right at the top of thinking about mental toughness as an abstract idea and to start thinking about it as something that happens to you in real life and you really value it. In our previous lessons, we explored some of the practical ways of applying mental toughness. Here, we're going to consider that you'll apply your new applications to what we're learning now. Our mindset and your personal circumstances for developing mental toughness. Our goal and aspiration is to become easier and to archive them once we identify our purpose for achieving them. So ask yourself, why do you want to develop mental resilience? How will it improve your life? For example, will it help you to resist junk food when you're dieting? Will it give you the discipline you need to exercise daily? Will it provide you with the emotional strength you'll need when you lose a loved one or family member? Developing mental toughness is a difficult endeavor, but knowing your purpose will help you to persevere toward your goal. Step number 2. Segment your goals. You're no stranger to setting goals. We do that at Rayfield all the time. The fact that you're reading these lessons and participating in these life lessons are a part of our self-improvement here at Rayfield. It's important for you, and it is difficult to improve anything in life without goals. Having said that, setting a goal isn't enough, nor is setting the right goal enough. The key is to break down the goal into easy, manageable steps. So in this lesson, how the Navy SEAL develops mental toughness, we talked about the practice of segmentation. We talked about that Navy SEALs use a unique technique to break their goals apart into individual jobs. They use it to avoid becoming overwhelmed. This is the same techniques used by distance runners when they participate in marathons. They don't focus on the finish line. They focus on the next point within sight. Once they reach that point, then they focus on the next point within sight. They do this over and over again, confident that they will eventually reach the finish line. Okay, so let's break our goals into parts so we can resist the temptation to give up. Step number 3. Reframe difficult situations as opportunities to improve. Building mental strength depends on how we think of our circumstances. If we perceive adversity and misfortune to be hardships that leave us powerless victims, we'll be more inclined to lose heart and surrender. Conversely, if we perceive them to be learning opportunities, we'll be more likely to consider their positive aspects. It's a matter of reframing from how we interpret our challenging scenarios. For example, suppose you're a freelancer discussing a project with a potential client. The client ends up balking and rejecting your proposal right out. This scenario, you habitually consider yourself the victim in negative situations. You may instinctively question your ability and your skills. In this opportunity, this happens repeatedly. You might even begin to think of yourself as a failure. Be tempted to close down your business. But if you reframe this client's rejection and put it in a positive light, for example, you might interpret it as a reinforcement of your pricing structure. Charging higher fees leads to better clients. You may perceive that it's an affirmation of your principles, this type of work you're willing or unwilling to do. But refraining from difficult situations, you get to choose the insight that you infer from it. This will shift your mindset to make the difference between falling into despair when you think things are going wrong and feeling inspired to persist. Just because somebody says something negative about what you're doing does not mean that you have to accept it as negative. You can see this as a growth opportunity. Everyone is entitled to their own thoughts. Step number 4, practice controlling negative emotions. Emotional intelligence is a massive topic that touches on numerous principles and subject areas, such as empathy, self-awareness, self-regulation. Such matters lie beyond the scope of this lesson, but we can still benefit from exploring how to get our emotions under control without getting lost in the weeds as we progress. As we discussed in our section on mental toughness and emotional mastery, negative emotions are natural. In fact, they can be highly useful in focusing our attention and spurring us to improve ourselves. This problem with emotions, like anxiety, anger, fear, can overwhelm and paralyze us into non-action. A little goes a long way, and too much can quickly overload us. We shouldn't suppress our negative emotions. On the contrary, we should learn to manage them. The best way to do this is to question whether your feelings align with the logic and reason. When we're there in sync, it's much easier to take a purposeful action and to make good decisions when things go wrong. For example, suppose your retirement portfolio takes a beating in the market. It's down 25% and you're angry and worried about your investments. You will no longer have sufficient funds to retire. Stop, take a breath. Now ask yourself whether these negative emotions align with reason. We know from history that the market typically rallies soon after it contracts. That usually takes a couple of years. Armed with this knowledge, it becomes easier to manage your anger and your worry. Rather than letting it paralyze you, you can make a good decision to just take sensible action. Relocating your investments to a promising sector. In this example, your anger and worry inform your decisions. They prompt you to take action rather than incapacitating you. It's not always easy to take control over your negative emotions, but the more consistent you become with this technique, the easier it becomes. Righty. Number 5, visualize your performance. This step is easy and simple. Here's how to do it. Whether you about to do something, close your eyes and see yourself doing it perfectly in your mind. Then imagine, how would you respond to the various challenges? Rehearsing your performance in your head does 2 important things. First, it trains your mind to expect success. In this lesson, The Young Champion's Mind, Jim Affernow notes the following: the brain does not always differentiate between imagination and reality. The brain can be deployed for both types of experiences. When you visualize doing something successfully, your brain thinks it's real. Consequently, visualization can lead to improve your chances of success. This is the reason world-class athletes use this technique before they compete. If it works for them, it'll work for you. The second thing mental rehearsal does is to prepare for every possible contingency. When you visualize how you'll respond to various challenges, you train your mind to react faster. Rather than being forced to interpret each setback in the moment and choose the appropriate response, your responses will already be in place. You will spend less time about your situation when you find the visualization taking place. You get back in the game when you confront these obstacles. Number 6, manage your inner critic. Alrighty, Rayfield. Well, we made it through 1 through 5. Tomorrow we'll do 6 through 10. Our lesson today was the 10-step training program for toughening your mind. We're becoming tough people, mentally tough, that is. So guys, let's get ready for the rest of the week. Today is Wednesday, and we will be having music with Mr. Glenn. Let's have a great day.